Congratulations on your provisional admission to the Stellenbosch Law Faculty. If you're looking for an engaging student experience, you've made an excellent choice.
Congratulations on your provisional acceptance to study at Stellenbosch University. I trust you will have a wonderful experience.
Good day. Goeiedag, Molweni. I'm Nicholas Smith, a professor in the Faculty of Law and the 15th Dean of this faculty that is celebrating its centenary in 2021. We received approximately 9,000 applications from prospective law students from all over our country and even further afield. I therefore wish to start by congratulating you on receiving and accepting a provisional offer of acceptance to study law at SU in 2022. You have made an important choice to apply to Stellenbosch University, and now you can join a law faculty with a consistent and high standard of legal education over the past 100 years. Our faculty is made up out of 3 academic departments: mercantile law, private law, and public law, as well as the SU Law Clinic. Other than our more rural and decidedly student town setting in the beautiful Cape Winelands, which promises an excellent student experience, I am confident that there are several reasons why you now may want to register and join us at Marty's Law. These reasons include our excellent academic, professional and support staff. With an average age of 45 years, our academic staff are increasingly diverse, highly qualified and highly rated by peers. Our facilities, such as our law library, with more than 23,000 books, scientific journals, and electronic resources that are used very frequently by our students, as well as innovative academic support structures. Secondly, smaller class sizes, a law clinic renowned for its social justice and access to justice endeavors, as well as various student organizations, structures, and publications add to an enriching learning experience. A curriculum entrenching graduate attributes, which focus not only on knowledge, but also on skills, such as communication, teamwork, and leadership, dispositions and competencies, including grit, legal ethics, and social awareness, will give you the best possible chance to excel in your professional career. And seeing that we are living in a global world, the various opportunities to study abroad or eventually even earn an international joint degree. A previous Supreme Court justice said that pretty much all law consists in forbidding men to do something that they want to do. We can, however, acknowledge that law also establishes normative standards, protects the freedoms and rights of people, helps maintain order, resolves disputes, and promotes social justice. The legal profession is central to resolving many contemporary challenges facing South Africa and indeed the world, including abuse of power, threats to the rule of law and democracy, increasing inequality and discrimination. Our academics consistently research and publish on these matters and share their knowledge and insights with our students. Remember to look past the stereotypical portrayal of legal practitioners and note that much of a lawyer's work is often invisible and there's a role to play in many different capacities other than that of a litigator. This is because lawyers tend to anticipate and manage conflict, contrary to the popular belief that lawyers only litigate. Studies have convincingly shown that abilities such as empathy and leadership help individuals be successful in life. We want to help you become not only knowledgeable and skilled in law, but also reflective and socially conscious. You will be the first group to start your studies with our recently renewed program curriculums, and I can assure you that we are very excited about the rollout of these forward-looking programs. At Marty's Law, we have a proud tradition of legal scholarship, and we would welcome you as a future change maker in our faculty next year.
My name is Tlonelwa Lutuli. I am 22 years old and I'm in my final year of the LLB program, and I went to the Settlers High School.
My name is Kyle Duvenacher. I'm 20 years old. I come from Worcester Gymnasium and I'm a second year student in the LLB program.
Veel geluk met jou voorwaardelike toelating tot Stellenbosch Universiteit. My naam is Erin Kotse. Ek is 23 jaar oud. Ek kom vanaf Piketberg en het skool gegaan op Hoërskool Piketberg. Ek het my eerste graad in BCom regsgeleerdheid gedoen. Ek is tans besig met my finale jaar in my nagraads LLB.
My name is Sani Yaqub. I am from Plettenberg Bay. I went to Witterdrift High School and I'm currently in my first year of the postgraduate LLB program. I completed my BA Law undergrad program. Well done on being accepted to Stellenbosch University. It is a very, very big honor and I hope you're very proud of yourself.
Congratulations on being provisionally accepted at the Law Faculty of Stellenbosch. You must be really proud of yourself and your parents must be too. I'm Liam Erasmus and I'm 21 years old. I'm currently in my third year of the BAc LLB degree and I matriculated in 2018 from Grooteschuur High School in Newlands, Cape Town.
Hello, I'm Karabo Magasha, a fourth year BAc LLB student at Stellenbosch University. Congrats on being accepted for BAc LLB. It's a great achievement. You should be proud of yourself. I matriculated in 2017 from Rodin School in Johannesburg.
Congratulations on being provisionally accepted to the law faculty at Stellenbosch University. My name is Carla de Souza. I'm 23 years old. I went to Stellenbosch High School in Cape Town, and I'm currently in my fifth and final year of my postgraduate two-year LLB program at Stellenbosch. I did a BA Law and I finished in 2019.
Congratulations on your provisional acceptance to the law faculty at Stellenbosch University. My name is Tennille Isaacs. I am 23 years old. I went to Stellenbosch High School in Cape Town and I completed my BCom Law degree in 2019. And currently I am doing my postgraduate LLB.
I'm Richard Stevens and I'm the Vice Dean of Learning and Teaching at the Faculty of Law at Stellenbosch University. Congratulations, baie geluk, Ndiavuisana Nani, on your provisional acceptance as law students in our faculty in 2022.
Good day, I am Juanita Pinar. I'm a professor in private law and also Vice Dean, Research and Internationalization. It's wonderful that you've been accepted provisionally and we would love to receive you next year in the Faculty of Law. Knap gedaan. Ndiavuisana Nani. Professor Stevens, what does the Vice Dean Teaching and Learning do in the Faculty of Law?
Professor Pino, that's a very good question. It's quite a diverse role. For example, next year the new intake will be starting with a renewed LLB program, which means that over the past few years, under my auspices or under my field, we had to relook at the curriculum, the modules, the programs. As you know, we have BA Law, BCom Law, the 4-year LLB. So there are different routes to get to our LLB program. So we relooked our whole program and had to think what we had to renew for our new curriculum. So that is one aspect. Another aspect would, for example, be language in modules. That is a continuous task as well. And then generally speaking, dealing with all queries from students and staff about modules, module content, the program, admission, and so forth. So it's quite a diverse role. So I have a role internally within the faculty, but also serve on a number of committees within the university. For example, the Language Policy Committee, the Learning and Teaching Committee, which continuously looks at programs and curricular renewal at the university. And you also, this is a very exciting new phase in your career because you will be the first Vice Dean for Research and Internationalization. So what do you see your role entailing?
Well, my main aim is to promote and facilitate even more research and internationalization in the faculty. So when I studied law many moons ago, the opportunities to study abroad and to be exposed to foreign scholars were very limited, especially on undergraduate level. However, I did have a wonderful opportunity to do some of my doctoral research at the Max Planck Institute in Hamburg, Germany. and the Bodleian Law Library at Oxford University. And that broadened my horizons, not only in a physical sense, but it also broadened my mind. So in my mind, that resulted in a more well-rounded individual and student. And we want that for our students as well. So what would that mean for a student to study at Stellenbosch Faculty of Law? We've got excellent student exchange agreements, some of them long-standing, with wonderful sister faculties in Africa and abroad. So if you join us next year, you can also benefit from some of these exchange agreements. You can spend a semester in Leuven or in Aberdeen or in Nottingham. And while we have these long-standing agreements, we are constantly also exploring new avenues. So as we speak, we are negotiating new agreements with universities in France and Canada and Kenya. And with regard to our research, Stellenbosch University and also the Faculty of Law, we take research really seriously. It's part of being an excellent university. And how do we do that in the faculty? Well, we've got excellent research chairs. For example, the research chair in social justice, where the incumbent there is the very well-known former public protector, Professor Thuli Modensela. It's an exceptional chair. It's very hands-on, and it's got a wonderful imprint, especially on the policy dimension. But we also, of course, us, staff members, we also do research. And we truly believe that excellence in teaching is embedded in excellence in research. So if you are in the class next year, you might possibly sit there and being lectured by one of the leaders in the field, the person who contributed to your textbook or wrote your textbook.
That is actually what I wanted to ask you. For our students for next year, could you explain to them maybe what does research entail in law? Because one thinks of research as the natural science of medicine, promoting or finding out what vaccine will work and so on, but what does research mean in the legal sphere?
I think like any other science, we are also constantly shifting the boundaries of knowledge. In our case, it's got to do with academic and theory, but also research that has an impact in practice. In other words, what we do can actually change people's lives.
Oh, that's fascinating because, as you say, ultimately what one researches or your work, that will ultimately translate and flow over into the classroom, and our students can only benefit from it.
Absolutely. So tell us something about your journey. Why did you study law, and why did you study law here at Stellenbosch University?
I think it's an interesting question because having grown up in the 70s and 80s, yes, I am that old. It is interesting because also at that stage, there were only one or two television shows, and I was fascinated by argument and not necessarily the glamour of television shows, but more the use of language. And I always enjoyed languages at school, but also mathematics. So in a sense, I was torn whether I wanted to study medicine or law. I took a gap year after school and in Germany, but they also perfected my German, and I realized that even there's a lot of logic in certain languages like German and how it functions. And I realized that law would promote or, in a sense, combine my love for mathematics, weirdly enough, and languages. And then I suppose ultimately that started my journey. My gap year made me reflect on why I wanted to study law. In a sense, also, I was familiar with a number of people who studied law at Stellenbosch University. And it was, in a sense, having grown up in Ida's Valley here locally, it was a logical choice to come to Stellenbosch University. So yes, that is why I came to Stellenbosch. And you're not from Stellenbosch, and what made you study law, and why did you come to Stellenbosch?
That is a very funny story as well. I always wanted to join the diplomatic corps. I wanted to travel, obviously. I also had German as an additional language at school. I wanted to travel and I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to represent my country. So when I was in the present day grade 11, I wrote to the former Department of Foreign Affairs inquiring about how do you go about to become an ambassador or a diplomat. And they replied, they sent me a lovely booklet. The booklet was titled, The Role of the Ambassador's Wife. Not the ambassador, the ambassador's wife. And at that point, I realized this is not going to work for me. I'm going to study something else, something that is based on equity and where I can make a difference. And I studied law. I joined the faculty 27 years ago, and that is also an interesting journey. When I joined the faculty many years ago, very few female staff members. We have progressed on the diversity field. We are absolutely moving forward. We are still on a journey. I don't think we've reached our destination yet, but we are definitely moving forward.
I recall because I think when I was a final year student, you just joined. So I remember that we had about 3 female lecturers at that stage only out of a component, I think, of 30 lecturers, and yes. I see the strides. But it's also interesting that you talk about diversity, because I remember we were only 2 persons of color in our final year after starting with 4 in 1990. So only 2 made it within the 5 years. And when I look at the class makeup these days, it's obviously not where we want to be, but it's so reassuring to see from where we were as 2 students in your final year and to where we are now. It's really reassuring, and that in a sense makes it so nice, and to see the journey of not being insular, but having studied at Stellenbosch and seeing the, hopefully, progression that we've experienced.
And I think you can agree with me, Richard, that our faculty is very dynamic, and there's a very interesting mix of older, more experienced researchers and scholars, but also a young cohort of dynamic and people with a lot of initiative and passion for the law. And I think that makes our law faculty really exceptional.
And I think what the good thing also is that despite the different age groups, that everybody is passionate about the law and the role and the impact they can have on students, and they want to see student success.
We want to go forward as a faculty, and we want to take our students with us.
Now, Professor Pina, if there's one message you could maybe give to our students who are going to start their journey next year, what do you think has been the most valuable, or not, let me put it differently, what impact has the law had on your life in terms of your career, and what students can expect and take away from their journey once they've graduated from our faculty?
I think when you embark on your law studies, you think you are going to study principles and rules, but that's only part of what you're going to do. When you complete your studies and you reflect and you think back, you will see you've learned so much more. Different skills, time management, to be able to cope under pressure, to prioritize. I think the important thing of studying law is also to understand that you have to adapt, and you have to be flexible, and you have to be resilient. And that relates to the academic part, but there is again also much more. There's a people dimension. How do you interact with your co-students and with your lecturers, and also with society? So I think overall, when you complete your studies, we want the students to belong, wherever that is, to make a difference and to contribute. Whether that's in practice, public sector, private sector, they can make and they will make a difference.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think ultimately what we want to see when our students leave, when you leave, will be well-rounded people, and then we would have succeeded in our goals.
I agree.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I was enticed by the recruitment bursary, but I've been pleasantly surprised at the amount of academic and personal growth that I've had while in this faculty?
I decided to study law at Stellenbosch University because of the sense of community I saw among students. Ever since I came here for the first time in grade 11 at the open day, I saw a sense of belonging and enjoyment, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of that. So why did you decide to study your program at Stellenbosch?
Oh, that's a good question, Kyle. I come from a family of very strong women who are community leaders and who are change makers in their own right. And I definitely felt inspired to follow in their lead, follow in their footsteps. And I found that the law was the best way for me to do that.
So that's wonderful. I decided to study law at Stellenbosch, my program, because, well, initially I wanted to do the BA law program so I could take psychology as an elective.
Oh, okay.
But I decided on the 4-year LLB program because I would finish a year earlier if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do my master's afterwards.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I decided to study law because of Atticus Finch. For those who don't remember grade 10 as well as I do, he's one of the characters in To Kill a Mockingbird. And the point of the book is to show the prejudices in the society in the American South at the time. And he turns to the jury, defending his client, who is an innocent man, and says, "Do your duty." And that stuck with me, because I don't think he was just speaking to that jury. I think he was speaking toward citizens in general, to be active, to do your duty, your civic duty. And that is what I feel that the law allows you to do. It allows you to excavate the inequalities in society and bring it to the fore in a public forum in a way that not many faculties and not many industries allow you to do. And so that to me is the ultimate reason why I decided to study law. And Stellenbosch offering the combination of the accounting and law degree in one 5-year stream just made it, because I feel that the best way to combat corruption and inequality in our society is to prosecute those responsible. And if you understand the financial reporting requirements and as well as the legal requirements, you will make a tangible difference in improving our society, improving our governance, and allowing us to reach our constitutional promise. What about you, Karabo?
I was torn between Stellenbosch and UCT, and I chose the Silicon Valley of South Africa. It does not hurt that there is a great deal of beauty in Stellenbosch, with all the wine farms, all of the people, and the beautiful Victoria Street. I love Stellenbosch. I love how beautiful it is. I love the mountains and how different it is from Johannesburg, where I'm from. I chose BIAC LLB because it is such a wonderful combination of two incredibly challenging and incredibly rewarding degrees. I want to be the boss in the future. I want to be well equipped to take on the corporate world, and studying law and accounting together, only available at Stellenbosch, was my only option.
So Erin, why did you decide to study BCom Law at Stellenbosch University?
Well, I always knew that I'm going to study at Stellenbosch University. My family lives in Stellenbosch, and I actually originally come from the Northern Cape. So when we used to visit, then we used to walk down Victoria, and I knew that this beautiful university will be my home one day. That's why I came to Stellenbosch. And I studied BCom Law because at school I really loved accounting, and I didn't just want to leave it behind. I wanted to gain more knowledge in accounting, and I wanted more than just the normal law degree. I wanted a bit more, something to do with numbers instead of just studying and reading. How about you?
Well, Stellenbosch has always also been very close to our family. My parents always advocated for Stellenbosch above all universities. And I remember coming to the orientation program, I think it was a matric at the time, and the community, the sense of community in Stellenbosch and the engagement that students had on campus, I just thought it was such a special environment to be in. And I remember thinking that such an environment would be very conducive to learning, especially because doing a degree is so difficult and challenging. You go through so many different stages in your life, you prepare for adulthood and everything. And I just remember thinking that I want to be in an environment where I feel comfortable, where the people are really there for you. And I just really loved that part of Stellenbosch, and that's why I chose Stellenbosch, and I've been happy about that choice every day of my degree and my postgraduate degree. And BCom Law, I admittedly wanted to do a BSc degree or medicine, did sciences at school, but I chose to do BCom because I knew it was a very expansive degree. You could major in economics, and I loved economics. And being a part of the law faculty, I remember looking at OHUF and just thinking, wow, it's such imagine coming from this, or graduating and you can say you went to this law school. It just all felt very special, and I'm glad that I chose BCom Law because as I learned more about, obviously just being a part of the law faculty and being a part of the commerce faculty during my undergrad, there's just so much that I learned and there's just so much that I appreciated. And yeah, BCom Law, it's expansive. I think I am one of those testaments that you do not have to do any sort of accounting or economics at school. I did physics and biology and I managed to get through, and I am so happy with my choice, and I'm happy for the expansive teaching that I gained from my BCom Law degree.
Yeah, I agree. That's amazing. I must also affirm that what you said about the sense of community at Stellenbosch, it's very, like, everyone's there for each other, even though you're on a WhatsApp group and you don't even know the people, but they are there for you and they'll send you a private message and they'll just engage with you. And I must say that's something at Stellenbosch University that really stands out for Stellenbosch University.
Yes, it's very unique.
Yes, and I must say, I don't know about how you feel, but I must say that I think that because I'm here for 5 years and because I did my BCom undergrad, I learn more how to learn. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, when I'm in my final year, as I am now, even though it's hard still, it seems like it comes naturally to study because you've been so disciplined for 4 years already.
I chose to study at Stellenbosch because it seemed like the best option for me coming from the Western Cape, and definitely its academic reputation and excellence stood out for me the most.
I've got a bit of a corny answer. My dad is a Marty's Law alumni, and for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to study law and follow in his footsteps. So I applied to Stellenbosch to do law specifically, and I was accepted, and I wouldn't change a thing. I developed a passion for the law, and I'm incredibly happy that I chose this path.
I chose to study the BA Law program because it seemed that there were more electives than the LLB stream, and it allows a broader spectrum of thinking. It allows you to pursue something you might be interested in outside of law, and it also develops a very holistic way of thinking and critical thinking especially. How about you, Carla?
I think my answer is quite similar to yours, in that BA Law really allows you to develop your critical reasoning and your critical thinking. I always had a passion for arts and literature in high school, so I wanted to allow myself to explore that passion a little bit more in university and be able to study English specifically. I really enjoyed English literature, so that's why I decided to do BA Law.
So future plans, I tend to take it month by month, sometimes week by week. But future plans, I definitely want to do my candidate attorney, my articles. I'd like to complete that. And after completing my 2-year articles program, I would like to practice in law. I would like to work at a firm and establish myself in the corporate world. Beyond that, I definitely think, and I think that's why the BCom Law degree is so great, because it really does give you a lot of options. And I think as I progress in my professional career, I really will always just always reassess what I'm interested in, where I'd like to rather work, and where I want to explore different expertise and explore different types of work. So I think there's a lot of options going forward, but for now, it's definitely practicing law.
So I have a few short-term goals, the most immediate being making it to graduation at the end of this year. But definitely I would like to make the law more accessible to everybody in this country. I haven't yet figured out exactly where I need to be in order to make that happen, but that's what I'm working towards. What about you, Kyle?
My goal, I think my long-term goal is to in some way assist with including LGBTQ history as compulsory part of the curriculum in schools. I'm not sure how I will do that yet, but I decided that law is a very good place to start with that. So.
Definitely, yeah.
I would like to study further first, so do my master's and complete my master's first, and then I would like to go do my candidate attorney program and finish off and become an admitted attorney. After that, I'm looking at the banking sector and going into banking, specifically becoming a legal advisor for banks or even investment companies. So that's where I see myself in a few years.
Given that there are so many options between private law or public law, I think that I definitely want to go into property or commercial law. And short-term goals, I think that I definitely want to get through this year and next year in my degree. And you, Carla?
I think we've got very similar interests. I also want to go into property and commercial law. After I finish this year, I'm going to do my articles next year in Cape Town. And future plans are hopefully to be admitted as an attorney in 2.5 years' time. I'd also like to become a notary and a conveyancer, hopefully.
Immediate plans are finishing my degree and then doing pupillage at the Joburg Bar, going into accounting articles at a bank or a management consulting firm, and for the rest, you'll have to wait and see, just as I will. What about you, Liam?
Well, my plans involve making a tangible difference in society. And for me, I'm not exactly sure what the number one and prescient thing to do in that realm, but I know that's what I want to do. So I definitely want to do my articles in accounting. I've already signed with a firm to be able to do auditing for 3 years once I've done my BAc LLB degree, then doing my postgrad in accounting, and then doing the 3 years articles. After that, it is also a blank slate, a canvas. The world is your oyster once you have that CASA degree, designation, as well as the BAc LLB degree. So it definitely requires you to understand what it is you want out of the world, but you have 2 very exciting streams to choose from, and I think that is the import of this degree, that you have more freedom than most students do.
And I think just to add on to what you've just said, BAc LLB is so interesting because the world really is your oyster. And I would even go so far as to say that it's not a choice as to what you want to do, whether law or accounting. The question is, which one are you doing first? Because you can do both, and you can do anything beyond law and beyond accounting. It's up to you, all because of BAc LLB at Stellenbosch University.
I think it's very important to balance studying with all of your other extracurricular activities. I always say university is not just a place, it's an experience. So it's important to be involved, to participate in your residence or your PSO, and to make the most of the 4 or 5 years you have in your law program. So I think keeping a to-do list is very important, and just ensuring that you have a healthy balance between studying and also enjoying campus life.
I completely agree with you there, Kyle, because the university experience goes beyond just what happens in the faculty. I think that the best way to go about it is to make sure that while you prioritize your academics, realize that there is enough time to do everything else. What I did was set up a schedule at the beginning of each term and make sure that I allocate enough hours every day to what needs to get done, and then also have quite a bit of time for some fun activities and for my social life. It's important that we realize that balance and that downtime is part of the holistic student experience, and you can't do without it.
Definitely, I agree. It's very important to make time for self-reflection and just to kick back and to look after your mental health as well.
Definitely.
It's important to note that you're not just coming to Stellenbosch University, you're entering the University of Life. And that is what I think is the most exciting. Even though the degree is very challenging, you are coming into this completely new environment where you are accountable to yourself, and you are sort of given the freedom to discover what it is that you enjoy and what it is that you don't enjoy. So my tip for balancing your various interests and various commitments is to plan. Get a massive calendar, put it in your room, and just ensure that you aren't painting yourself too thin, but also that you aren't saying no to every new opportunity that comes your way just because it's new. And so I think it's very important that you branch yourself out just don't think that because this degree is challenging, because it requires an 80% NSC average, that you cannot be part of student leadership, that you can't try different things in the various societies that Stellenbosch offers. It's not just about your degree, it's about joining the Film Society, it's about joining the Sustainability Society, making a tangible impact in other communities that you perhaps didn't even think of, but because of the array of activities that Stellenbosch offers, you find yourself interested in many things other than just your academic life. And you, Karabo?
As we are speaking to you guys, you've already been provisionally accepted. You've done the work. You have put the work in. You are already a BIAC LLB student, and your degree says that. The degree that you are enrolled for and registered for says that. Now it's up to you to say what you are and who you are. You are not only a BIAC LLB student. You are a student of Stellenbosch University. You are a friend, a mentor, a supporter, and a family member. And you need to fill in all of those other parts of who you are to be a composite student, so that you're not just a student who has this BIAC LLB degree, which is great theoretically, but you are somebody with all this potential who is really showing the value of a BIAC LLB degree through what you are doing, not because of the degree.
You got a replacement for coffee?
I am high on life. I am incredibly busy. I sleep a lot, I exercise a lot, and I do my own thing. I really don't make academics my life, the be all and end all of my life, because if I did, I would be incredibly bored. So I choose to do with my time what I will, but this is not how I wanted to answer. But anyways, my dad says that my job is to be a full-time student, and that's my 8 to 5. What I do afterwards is my business and how I get my energy. I don't need coffee because my extracurriculars, like being on the EBSK, working with the law faculty a lot, and being a social justice advocate, keeps me busy and keeps me energized.
The biggest difference from going to high school to university is going from an environment where you have help all the time and a lot of individual attention to being practically independent all the time. Yeah. So in high school, you have to raise your hand when you want to leave the classroom, and at university, you're in charge of eating your own food. You have to plan ahead, you have to do everything yourself. So it's very exciting to be independent for a while.
I couldn't agree more, Kyle. I was telling some of my mentees that it's double the content, double the concept complexity, double the independence, but also double the fun. It's quite exciting to be able to take charge of your learning experience in that way. A little bit difficult at first, but you'll get into the hang of it quite swiftly, I think.
That is very true.
So the biggest difference between school and university is kind of lonely sometimes, because you have this big sense of community, but you also need to learn who you are first. So at the beginning of university, it's a very lonely experience because you're away from your parents, you're away from what you used to know, but you also need to settle and know who you are, because otherwise you'll get influenced by your peers and maybe even experience some bad influence. But once you get over that hurdle of getting to know who you are, it's amazing after that, because you can set boundaries and you can do what you like. I must say the biggest difference between school and university is that there's no one checking up on you at university. When you are sick, there's no one that's going to bring food to you or take you to the doctor. When you need to go fix a tooth, you need to call the dentist and go to the dentist. And it's all those small things that is not even academically related, but influences your daily life at university. When you still live with your parents and commute to varsity, that's still fine in a sense, but still when you are at varsity, you are still largely independent and need to be independent and need to be able to communicate to other people and ask for help. I think the most important thing that I've learned here is to really just ask for help. Danielle, and how about you?
Yes, I agree with you, Erin, and I do think that initially it can be lonely, and it's up to you. For me, it's you create the experiences in your life, and if you make the conscious decision to go up to someone and say, I'm doing BCom law, I don't understand anything that's going on in accounting. Can you please help me? It's just taking that step.
Yeah.
I am a student who travels in. I've traveled in and out to Stellenbosch since my first year. And it definitely comes with its own unique set of challenges as well. Making time for the commutes, number one. Just trying to include yourself into a space where a lot of your peers are predominantly based in Stellenbosch because they stay here. And just finding a niche and a way to include yourself into the atmosphere in Stellenbosch. But you really need to make that conscious decision for yourself and include yourself by asking questions. I remember it was private law 171, 8 o'clock on a Friday morning, and I just sat next to someone random and I said, what degree are you doing? And she said BCom law, and I'm like, can we stick to each other for the day and just see each other through this day? And I think it's so important that you make that step, that you must force yourself into situations so that you can make yourself more comfortable. It's obviously very daunting in the beginning because everything is so new, things are fresh, whether you're commuting in and out, whether you are staying on campus, you really do need to make the experience your own. But in order to get to that point, you need to give it a proper chance and you need to try. Because that's also part of being an adult and growing up, is that you need to actively make decisions for yourself and also include yourself into things that you maybe wouldn't have, or make choices that you wouldn't necessarily have made in high school as a high school student, for example. And yes, I think it's a very good experience, and to grow up is daunting, but it's exciting at the same time.
I think the biggest jump going from matric to university is the workload gets much more than when you're in high school. And also you really have to develop a sense of independence and accountability. No one is there to look after you or check up that you're doing your readings and doing your work. It's entirely up to you. So you really have to build that motivation to keep yourself on the right path and keep yourself up to date with your academic work.
I definitely agree with Carla. I think that the biggest difference between school and university is the amount of discipline that you have to instill in yourself and the time management skills that you have to keep to a schedule. Your parents aren't necessarily there, especially if you live on campus, and you have to motivate yourself. You have to keep yourself accountable.
It's nice to know that at the end of the day, you are accountable to yourself, and you have the responsibility to attend those classes, to set your alarms, to make sure that you are prepared when the test comes, because there's no homework, but I recommend that you do some sort of homework before the test at least. And it's not only that you have to be accountable to yourself, but especially if you're going to be staying in residence, which is obviously very different to staying at home with your parents, you have the support network of your peers. You don't have your people of your parents' age. You have 21-year-old that you're living with, 22-year-old that you're living with, and that comes with its own set of challenges, but also its own set of rewards, because you sort of grow together and you have this sense of camaraderie that doesn't come with just seeing each other at school. It's about living together, and even if you're not going to live at campus in a residence or in private accommodation, you will be on campus, you will have accountability to each other, and you will have that relationship with each other.
Pro, you can skip class. Con, you can skip class. University is all about freedom, and how you choose to use your freedom is your responsibility. It's a choice, it's a duty, and it's your responsibility.
Good day, welcome. Hallo almal. My naam is Dr. Bradley Greenhalgh. I am the student coordinator in the Office of the Dean at the Law Faculty at Stellenbosch University. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining us during the course of this presentation. We've had a lot of high energy students talking about the different programs, and between all of that, some useful pieces of information might have been missed. So I'm just going to chat a little bit about some things that I hope you will still find interesting. The first point that we just want to make is, regardless of the fact that we have a BAc LLB, a BA Law, a BCom Law, and the 4-year LLB program, At the end of the day, despite whichever program you might choose to come and register with us in, you will still be receiving exactly the same law modules. The core law modules are the same across the programs. The only variation is in the additional subjects that you might be taking depending on your program. So that's an important point to make. The other aspect that I think I just want to raise again is, yes, internationalization was spoken about, but I want to emphasize that during your course of your program and your studies with us, as you move towards the final year, those opportunities are going to become available, and depending on funding arrangements and the like, there could even be earlier opportunities at summer schools all over the world. Internationalization is an incredibly rich opportunity for any student, and it speaks to the quality of education that you receive at Stellenbosch University and our faculty, that we have such amazing university partnerships that are in existence, with more being added annually. So, one thing I just want to really touch on, given my focus on that of students, is that all of you are amazing students. You've done really well at at school, in your various studies at school. And on that point, once again, congratulations on being provisionally accepted. So it's quite clear that you know how to do things at school. But the students have touched on some of these points, and I just want to reiterate it, that when you do get to university, and you will get so tired of hearing this, but it's worth just mentioning, things are different. The bottom line is that when you're at school, a lot of the administration, the day-to-day activities, are done for you by the school. You simply have to fit into the system. You're given a timetable, for instance, and that sounds simple, but there are bells that ring that tell you when you have to move from one period to the other period. At university, you find the timetable. You find yourself. You find who you are. You have to find your classes, you have to find your research, you have to find your material. And remember, that switchover can be daunting, because if you really think about it, the difference between you as a grade 12 student and your first year, and you will hear this again, is Christmas. It's literally just a few months. And so that is a big step up. But remember, all of your fellow students have gone through the same thing. Year on year and into the future, everyone experiences that jolt, but it is alive with excitement. So just understand that there is going to be an initial stage of adjustment, but you will be fine. You've just got to stay calm and acknowledge that when you feel a little bit out of your depth, which is understandable, and there will be times when you do, that you tap into the myriad of resources that are available on our campus. So apart from the central support services that are available through the Center for Student Counseling and Development, you will have mentors that will be allocated to you through your residential program. The law faculty has its own mentor program. You will have individuals such as myself in the faculty that you can come to, and our faculty manager and the various deans and your lecturers, believe it or not, are also people and also know what it feels like to be a first year, your senior students, and most importantly, your fellow students that you will build relationships with as you go through your path and your time with us. So please, just hear it from someone, hear it from an old fogey such as myself, that it is an adjustment, but you've got this. Just take it in your stride and accept that it is part of this process of growing into yourself. So I just want to end off by emphasizing that as a faculty, a focus on ethics and the thinking processes behind being a law student and what it means to be a jurist, a large part of that also speaks to you as a person, finding your ethical moral compass. And along with that ethical moral compass comes an element of self-responsibility. You would have heard other students during this video or this presentation speaking about accountability. And that is also in there. You take in charge of your future, of where you are going to go, and grab in those opportunities with both hands. I envy you being at this stage with all of that lying ahead of you. It is going to be incredibly exciting, and we can't wait to welcome you into our faculty, into this beautiful town where you are about to embark on one of the most exciting opportunities of your present lives. All the best with the remaining exams. Work hard, do your thing, and we hope to see you soon.
I think first, before you start preparing yourself for university, congratulate yourself for getting through a pandemic or matriculating during a pandemic. I think that's an incredible feat and you really have to be proud of yourself. and then relax a little bit, take it all in, and then just start preparing yourself for the new challenges that will come with university and this new transition and the fact that you're now going to be studying towards a profession, hopefully. It comes with a lot of mental preparation. And then something practical, I think you can really benefit from perhaps reading up in the news, try and see what's going on in government in the news and what happens in our courts, just to start familiarizing yourself and getting in touch with politics and that sort of thing.
I agree with Carla, and to add on to what she said, I think start by Googling some latest legal developments to make it easier for yourself. Google the legal position on something you might be interested in, and definitely start enjoying reading and reading a lot. And watch Suits or How to Get Away with Murder. They aren't exactly accurate, but it will get you excited for yourself as a future lawyer.
My name is Lerato Melatu. I came to Stellenbosch in 2014 and I did the traditional LLB degree. I graduated in December of 2017. Thereafter, I did my articles at a law firm in Cape Town, and I'm still in Cape Town doing my second year as an associate. I am currently an associate in the dispute resolution department of Africa's largest law firm, and I can tell you that what I thought I was going to do in practice is nowhere near what I'm doing now. My least favorite subject in university, administrative law. 90% of my current practice area, administrative law. Believe you me, you think you know until you really do know. I started my degree knowing that I wanted to change the world, and I truly believed that coming to Stellenbosch would give me the best opportunity to encounter some of the best academics in the country and what I still believe is the best law faculty in the country. Get ready for incredible highs and probably some really bad lows. When it's really good, it's good, and when it's bad, it can only get better. Don't stop believing in yourself and make sure that you constantly remind yourself why you did this. For me, it was trying to change the world. For you, it may be becoming a millionaire. If you're going to become a lawyer, don't hold your breath on the millionaire status. But I can guarantee that no matter what field you choose to go into after studying your degree, you're going to make a difference. I decided to stay in the Western Cape because of the impact that Stellenbosch had on me. I met all types of people from all walks of life, and I knew that this is where I wanted to stay in the short term, and it would seem now in the long term. Probably the biggest lessons I took away from Stellenbosch, besides an incredible degree, is firstly, managing your time well. We all have the same 24 hours, but sometimes it can seem like you only have 3. Prioritize the important stuff, but make sure that there's time for a little bit of fun. Secondly, work hard, but your marks and how well you do during your degree are not going to determine the rest of your life. Try your best, and I promise the rest is going to sort itself out. And lastly, you have no idea what you're capable of until you're constantly challenged, whether it be academically or by a global pandemic. Just keep pushing on. The end isn't near, but it is coming. And when you get there, it'll be so worth it. I may have taken the traditional route of articles and then becoming an admitted attorney, but that's not necessarily the route you have to take if you do a law degree. I have friends that are part of drafting legislation, who are part of ensuring that the IEC is held accountable, who are part of financial services companies with absolutely no finance backgrounds. You don't necessarily have to become a lawyer, but the skills you're picking up during your law degree are going to expose you to jobs that don't even exist yet. So make sure that you learn as much as possible, choose your electives wisely, and like I said, make sure that you have a little bit of fun while you're doing it. Probably the biggest adjustment you're going to have to make moving from high school to university, you've heard it a million times, workload. You cannot even begin to imagine how much work you're going to have. More work than all of your subjects in high school combined and the 2 additional subjects the overachievers did. But you're also going to be exposed to more types of people and ways of thinking than you could have ever imagined. Whether you're from a big city and you think you've seen it all, or you're from a village and you're the first in your family to come to university, get ready. You're about to embark on some of the most exciting years of your life. Enjoy every minute. Study hard, but make time for your friends and family, and make sure that you don't become that person who's always cancelling on birthdays, gees-type outings, and general fun times. My fondest memories are in first year, we had criminal law at about 11. Yes, it was the hour before midday, which meant there was enough time to wake up, be at a wine farm by 9 o'clock, have a really nice champagne breakfast, and be back in time for your lecture. If you don't go to Miriam's at least once a week in the Nielsen and get the combination of 4 half moons and 4 smoothes, you've cheated yourself out of an entire university career. You've wasted your time. Go back home. There was no use coming to university. Leave the degree. It's hopeless.
We trust that you have enjoyed this information video and that you are inspired towards entering the world of law at Stellenbosch University. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. That's what makes attending university so special. Aristotle already said that educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. A legal background prepares you so that you will never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion, whilst knowing that you also have to listen generously in order to influence the views, decisions, and actions of others. We look forward to being a partner in your journey of discovery regarding the role you would like to play in our constitutional democracy. There are many opportunities for you to pursue in both the public and private sectors of the legal and related professions. On behalf of our faculty, best wishes for your final examinations. Marty's Law looks forward to welcoming you next year. Ons wens jou alles van die beste vir die res van hierdie jaar en sien uit daarna om jou volgende jaar te verwelkom. Nyamazela kuzolunga enkosi.
So I'll just, I forgot the welcoming program. It's awesome. And the onboarding program. Yeah, so our future law students, try your best to be there for that welcoming. It is an opportunity to make lifelong friends, and the information that we'll be giving you is so crucial. Don't miss it. I think that's it. Is that good? Is that good? That's good. Okay.
I am from the settlers. I'm sorry, I forgot where I'm from.
Short and sweet.
Short and punchy. Do you want to rub it as well?
The words escape me. The words.
I lost my train of thought, sorry. I'm sorry.
Future plans. Have you got any?
No, not law.
Because below, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Okay.
Both of you, how important is coffee for a law student?
I don't drink coffee.
It ruins your teeth, but it's delicious and it's definitely necessary for that 8 AM private law. I saw someone spoke about that earlier. That is a quintessential ingredient to success.
Veel geluk met jou voorwaardelike toelating tot Stellenbosch Universiteit. Excuse. Moet ek sê regsgeleerdheid of is dit fine?
I was going to say watch Suits and How to Get Away with Murder to start your interest.
Did you just mention the EMS faculty body in a...
I have to represent my faculty. I'm the chairperson. I have to do my job.
When you, in the ideal world, what your future plans are, where you see yourself, what are you working towards?
10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter.
Well,
Yeah.
passing companies, short-term goal.
Good, that's good, okay.
It's fun.
Okay.